Hi, welcome to Walk Corner with Guido 1212. I've got a replay pack analysis. About a week ago, I was approached by somebody through a PM who was interested in seeing several different tanks played. He said he had trouble with them. The IS-3, the IS-8, IS-7, actually T-10, IS-7, E-75, 110E5, and the T-57. So I said I would do that for him. And I started off with the IS-3. I made a video. I posted it for him. And then I decided, you know what I'm going to do? Since the first game in the IS-3 is the one I actually used, that one was a pretty decent game. So I was happy to use it. And I thought, you know, I think people usually cherry pick on these things when they do analysis and try to help guys. What I'm going to do with the next 5 tanks is I'm going to play one game in each one. I'll take the recording and I'll do an analysis, good or bad, on each of those 5. And then just try to give him some pointers on those various tanks. So I've started here with the IS-8. I've already done the IS-3. I'll put these 5, the next 5, on this one recording. And we'll go through these. I'll analyze the play, talk about the tank a little bit, and see if we can't help out NiteDog with some of his heavy tank play. So here we are on Proc, 74% chance to win. Good team against a not great team. This is going to more or less be an easy win. We'll get that thing started and off to the races. Diamonds in the sky. What I'm going to do here is head up to the 5 line and try to control that spot. You will notice right away that they have no arty. We don't have any arty, so that's going to change a little bit of what I can do here. It's not going to change the position I'm going to, but it will change a little bit how I maneuver and how much I expose myself to being spotted. I like to go on this ridge here, especially when there is not any arty, because very often you will see the scouts troll along the edge of this ridge line. And if you sit here on this slightly high ground, sometimes you can get a free shot on them, hurt them, or take them out. Additionally, you can do the same thing from that side up by the road. Because there's no arty, I feel safe just sitting here. I should not have any kind of line of sight to me from anybody on their side, unless they're very high on the one line. And even then the draw distance should be too far. So I'm going to wait, see if I can get a free shot on a scout here. And then I'll move myself up to the 5-6 and try to control that line. There's a scout. Nope, he didn't highlight himself enough, so I'm going to start moving. Now I'm not going to stay there for very long. That's not a camping spot. I'm not going to sit there and snipe at mediums and lights all day long while they try to go across that. So I didn't get anything. That's fine. Move on. I know where I was going anyway. And you can see that the 12T and the 59 have taken up the same position. You don't want too many tanks here, but you absolutely must have some tanks here. What does this position do for you on Proc? Several things. Number one, it stops them from coming up and controlling completely their side of the 5-6 line and coming up over top and getting shots into your back area uncontested. It keeps them honest and stops them from shooting into the side of your tanks on the back edge, the north edge of the hill. It allows you to get shots on them if they come up over the top on the hill. So it's a great spot. You can see that deployment-wise, we don't have much going to the hill. Got a couple guys going back here. Do not go back there. Do not go back there, even in a TD. It's a terrible spot. You're relying on them to be stupid and expose themselves completely. Enough of that. The rest of our team is on the 1-2 line, so we have a pretty camp-tastic 1-2 line team right here. Let's see how this goes. The T10. First thing I noticed about it, since I hadn't played it for a long time, is how fast it is. It can, in fact, be played a lot like a medium. It can go to medium spots. It's got a pretty good gun. Great mobility, okay armor, not great armor for a heavy, pretty good armor for a medium. So that was nice to remember that. I'll show you what I'm looking at. I'm looking around a lot. I'm watching that hill. I want to see if lights happen on the hill that I can shoot. I see that 4502A. I can't really get to them. I'm going to investigate a little bit. Now you'll notice something very interesting right here on the control of the 5-6 line. They're not really contesting it. They have some guys trolling around in the middle. They haven't seen, we have not seen anything back here on the 1 line, though I'm sure they're there. Nobody on their team has been highlighted up on the hill, basically because we have no eyes up there. But that 12T is tucked up behind that rock. So he's going to proxy light anybody that's on the other side of him. If they come anywhere near 50 meters, he's going to actually proxy light them. If that happens, he's probably going to die quickly because he's completely exposed to crossfire from over here. But so far, he hasn't been seen. I see him there. That allows me to do some kind of exposed tactics here where I'm actually up on top of this hill looking for shots. Otherwise, typically you get owned right there. More than likely at this point in the game, they have tanks now up on top, so that if I do get seen, they're going to shoot right across into me. And because I am, show it to you, up on top of the hill, you can see that they've got a nice view into my side. So I do have to be careful, but that 12T has given me a lot of options. I'm going to see a 5120 here. I'll take a bad shot and miss him. I'm sort of moving my gun when I take the shot, trying to follow him. I don't know if that was a factor of too much coffee or not enough. It remains to be seen. Now I do something very, very silly here. I'm going to go up and over this track. One of the reasons I'm doing this is there's nobody here on the 5-6 line controlling. They don't seem to be lighting me from the middle. I haven't seen anything up top in greed. So as I'm coming down here to get the 4502, but you'll see I quickly get seen. And I'm going to take some aggro here. And I'm very lucky that they weren't particularly good either in tanks or shot, because I'm getting plinked and plinked. So I would not recommend this for NiteDog or anyone really to rely this much on a T10's armor. Getting very lucky right here. That's another mistake. You notice I just knocked down my cover. That was stopping people or helping stop people from shooting me from over here along the tracks. I just knocked it down and gave them a clear field of fire. As you can see, I'm missing. I'm using that building as much as I can right there. I do need to keep my turret towards them, as opposed to what I see a lot of people do. They're backing up. They want to look this way, so they'll just turn their mouse, but the turret will follow. If you're going to do this while you're backing up, you want to look behind you, lock your turret forward with the right mouse button, then turn your mouse and look where you're going. That way your turret doesn't turn around. I just take another hit. Now I'm taking hits, I don't know by what. Now there we go, there's that Panzer. Indian's been shooting at me, and I'm headed forward. I had two options right there: continue to back over the hill or kind of move forward. The reason I move forward is you can see we've actually pushed through here. There isn't anybody over here, or they're dead. Combination of the two. So I can actually move up now relatively safely and expose myself to this area of the map and not be too worried about it. And then that will allow me to use this ridge right here to shoot up into the hill up above where the Indian Panzer is. So I'll take some looks here, show you what I'm doing. Get a shot on him. Oh, hey, look, there's a 251 AFK. The reason I moved forward is so I can get in there and aim at him and not get shot by the guys up on the hill. And actually he ends up dying before I can do anything. And now the Patton's getting owned. Now if I had that to do again, I would not have gone down and tried to farm the 251. He was clearly going to be taken out by all those guys. I'd have stayed up here shooting and helping this Patton, because more than likely I'd have got more damage out of it, for one. And I may have helped him survive this thing. Right now I'm working on this T30. Nope, he's gone. If I'd have reloaded slightly faster, I would have shot into that blindly. I think you're going to see an example of that happening here pretty soon. Shot on him, tracked him. And I get to just sit here, right? I don't have to move. There's nobody spotting me. You can now see the team has folded over and the roll is on. That guy's just sitting there. Oh, I'll switch. There we go. Now, one of the reasons I switched is it's a bigger tank, tier 9, more important. And he gave me the full broadside. If I tried to sneak a shot into the IS-6, then it's possible that I'd have had a weird, funky angle, maybe hit the front of the IS-6 and bounced. Apparently there are orange rolls available. We'll get to those later. And I shoot into there. I don't know if I hit that guy. He was tracked. Now I'm going to come over here. So I'm exposing myself a bit here. Take that shot. working on the patent, and really this is just cleanup time right here. Pretty maneuverable tank. Interestingly, I'm not sure why I came up so high on that track. Actually, once I get to the point where I'm actually up on where the tracks are, it lifts the hole up even more, and I have a hard time with the depression. The tank's got pretty good depression. This time I do it a little better. I just really need to sit here a little more hold down than I am. Again, the coffee's having issues. And now I'm just farming damage at this point through no real super skill of my own. But you take advantage of the situation you have in the game. All right, the thing about the Conqueror is that thing reloads fast, on par with the T10, hits hard, has okay armor. So as far as an armor profile goes, we're kind of similar. Guns are sort of similar, although his is more accurate. But I am exposing my lower plate right there to him, and he's taking full advantage of that. I fired just as that guy gets killed. Okay, so he shoots into the turret. That's because I backed up and made a hold down situation right there. That was good on me. See how I came up and over a little bit there? And he's actually reloaded that fast, so I'm not doing a super fantastic job right here. Fortunately, I have friends. Otherwise, it looks like he was about to own me. And that's the end of that battle. So that's pretty standard proc, pretty typical of how you win it. You control the 5-6. The 1-2 line push lives, gets a crossfire, sweeps out the rest of the enemy from the southern part of the map, the southwestern and southern part of the map. And we had just enough over here to keep them honest on the hill, and they seemed content to camp it. We'd had more trouble had that force actually pushed down and cleaned up our guys here. But pretty classic, and there you go. NiteDog T10 play on proc. See you in the next video. Welcome to Walk Corner with Guido1212. This is the second in a series of videos for NiteDog, this time with the IS-7 gameplay on Himmelsdorf and counter mode. Now initially, moving up to take the hill, that is without a doubt the most important piece of real estate on this map and this mode, even more so than the regular game, or the regular mode, standard mode. If I could have it my way, every single tank we had would go up here, sweep them off quickly, and then move down to the cap. But that's not what we get. Take a look at the deployment. We have the E100 headed down Tank Alley. The 110E3 either not moving or indecisive. We got a decent amount of people coming up top. Artie's headed down here. That'll become important in a moment. And the scouts are starting to move. I'm going to move up to this piece of rubble right here. I'm driving the IS-7. I'm rolling with 12 APCR, 14 regular, and 4 HE. You can see the 110E3 has now showed up. Overall, as far as the teams go, fairly evenly matched. They're a little bit heavier, but it's not a huge advantage either way. The advantage will depend on how many tanks they bring up to the top and how many we bring up to the top. Tank Alley is important. It does need to be covered, or at least watched, so we have an early warning if somebody's coming that way. I really would rather the E100 not be the one doing it, but there you have it, and we'll see what our 110E3 does. As we move up here, I've seen that 110E3. The IS-7's got pretty good armor. It's best hold down straight forward. Angling is not as effective, although it's got funky angles when you do angle the tank, and if you're moving back and forth, it can spoil shots. But you do, unfortunately, give them a flatter plate if you angle and come out. And then, of course, it's got quite a large lower glacis that's vulnerable. This 110E3 is actually able to go hold down right here. That will be a problem for him in a moment. So I'll show you what I'm doing. If you look at my pen indicator, I'm not going to have anything I can pen, even with the APCR on the front of this 110E3. Alright, so this is not a great spot for me. I've got our other E100 right behind me. I'm facing down this 110E3. I haven't seen what else is coming up there, but I feel like I need to hold this right now to avoid having them kind of boil up over the top, and we don't have good SA on how many they have. There's still 4 heavies unaccounted for on their team, and we've got some guys hanging out at the back over here as you watch us come up and over. And it takes a while to develop on this sometimes, because when you spawn, your guys can be all the way up and down these roads. Slower tanks have to turn around, trundle all the way up the hill, The other side has the same issue, although I think the other side in general can get up there a little bit faster. They have a much better hold down spot than we do over here. It's a bit shallower, a little bit more protected, not quite as vulnerable to fire from the corners. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to kind of mess around, seeing if I can get a shot. You should see it pretty soon. The 110 E3, I'm just shooting uselessly into his tumor, which has been buffed and really is not penetrable by anything other than very high pen gold TD rounds. I got a 110 E5, so I need to try to work on him. I'm going to come around, look at that guy. Okay, there's a 111, 1.4. And I shoot into the ground. So I can work the 110, 111, 1.4, but the problem is to come around the corner, I expose my side to him, and I expose myself to both the 110 and the 110 E3, 110 E5 and 110 E3. But as this develops now, you can see that our Artie has got down in this corner. It's a pretty standard corner for Artie. The good thing about that is it can reach right there where you see all the clicking going on. Try to get rid of that. There we go. So that Artie can actually fire into here, and that's going to start punishing the red tanks. The red Artie can get down here, and it has some shots in this general area, especially kind of right around here on the top. But it's not nearly as effective at removing defenders as our Artie is up here because of the exposure, especially right here next to the church and then here at this hold down spot. So watch what happens here. I'm going to make an ill-advised poke. I believe it's an attempt at side scraping, which will illustrate the foolishness of that, because the 110 E3 is just going to go right through. Alright, so look what just happened right there. They already got spotted and then nuked by both our Arties. That's okay. Their Artie is not as effective. Interestingly, they were over there, and I just eat that shot big time. There's 800 damage. And once more just firing futilely into the front of the 110 E3. So really I should be thinking about doing something else. The problem is the something else is coming around this corner. She'll be coming around the mountain as she comes, and that's what these fellers down here are waiting for. Once you're lit, you put your side, and then even worse, as you try to come up over top and you're poking and trying to get these guys cleared out so you can move forward. Down here on the G line, they're just firing into you, firing into you. 110 E3's come alive. The E100 and 110 E3 are staring down this other E100 down there, keeping them busy. But that's two tier 10s V1, so they're not really helping us out. We do overmatch them a little bit up here. I like our position up here a little better. Additionally, you'll see, and here's the mouse, so that changes things a little bit. The 110 E3 has decided to pull back a bit. I bounced that guy. I shoot once again uselessly. I mean, I know I might as well switch to HE and try to do 100 points of damage. Now the T-54 is going to get in amongst them and cause them issues, although there's a T-57 there. That gives me a moment right there. So he breaks through, and we've got to take advantage of it. There goes our object. He's gone by. Their turrets have turned. They're busy looking, and we have a chance then to work on this one WZ-111. We've got to get rid of him. Unfortunately, the 140 sort of stops right there out in the open. What would have been really nice is if he had tucked up over here in this corner. The problem is he can't really because, oh darn, there's a 110 E5 also working on him. We're actually outnumbered right here a bit. See what I'm doing? I'm going to take a more careful aim on this guy. And earlier I actually fired an HE shell. I had switched to that because I was trying to at least do some damage to the 110 E3. Alright, so this is not a great move by me. We've got a Mounds right there. We've got a 110 E5. At least the 140 is still alive. I'm going to get a shot on him and take some damage out, so that's okay. But then I make a bad decision here. I'm kind of in no man's land. I really can't move to the 110 E5 or I'll take shots from the Mounds. I have a hard time going to the Mounds because I'm going to be taking shots from the 110 E5. But the good news is that their 110 E3 is dead and the Artie has done its work. Unfortunately, the scouts found it. So the problem with putting Artie there, especially if it's not screened by mediums or lights in this area, is what you just saw. Their mediums and lights roll up the tracks and take them out. This game has developed for quite a while, and although it's only 3 minutes into the game, that's a long time for this game, for us not to be done with the hill up top. And for a team that sends a lot of light and mediums down below, that gives them time to then start enveloping and coming back through up behind us. I managed to bounce the mouse. Still looking at the 110. There's not a lot I can do about that guy. So I make the fateful decision to head on down and see what I can do with the mouse, try to break this flank. He does a good job ramming me. That always hurts from a mouse. I had to fix the track. Fortunately, I had that left. I end up taking another hit. And things are looking good. Oh, darn. Okay, so I just got nuked by their Artie, who clearly has a shot in there, that little hole. He is either sitting here at this corner, which has a clear shot on me, or he's well back in this corner, and he's got the shot on me right there, ends up nuking me. Looks like 576, the rest of my hit points after the mouse took another 500, and that puts the end to me. So not an amazing game by any means. 2,000 damage. I sort of clogged up the top, kept them busy while the Artie took out a few of their heavies, and then made some bad decisions as far as who I was to engage. I probably would have done better to sit there and keep them from coming up and over, or potentially move back down through the A line and start working on the lights and things down there. It's going to take a while for that mouse especially to get into the fight. Our 110E3 has moved up. Our E100's down there. And that's pretty much it. This is Guido signing off. I will see you in the next video. Alright, here's the third video for NiteDog in the replay pack for the heavy tanks that he wanted to see played. This time we've got the E75 as requested. Tier 9, we're in a Tier 10 battle on mines. We're in the north spawn and everyone's starting to head up towards the hill. What I try to do here is get immediately up to this first corner, and I'm hoping to catch one of the slower tanks, slower fast tanks, trying to tunnel up the hill and get a shot off. But as you can see, we've got 3 guys trying to do the same thing. Now Magnus is right there. Good player, so he's doing the same thing. He's got a faster tank, so he actually gets there. We get all kerfuffled here, and their tanks are too fast. So I'm just going to keep on trucking, because what I don't want to have happen is sit here while they're Artie, who's probably starting just about now to pre-aim in there because they've taken up their position and are about loaded. So I need to hurry up and get up underneath right here up against this wall. And now we got to start working on getting up into the middle here and win the hill. You'll see the IS-7 comes around. He pays for that. And it's a little late in the early game for him to start poking around, even though he probably thought he had a shot on that 1390, because all these heavy tanks are starting to get up in here and stuff this area. So the E75's got some pretty good armor. I'll just sit here and continue to work this. Decent gun depression. And now we're just moving up. I'm going to take an ill-advised shot here. Goes right in the dirt, no surprise. If I'd have held that shot a little bit and moved up, I'd have got some damage on either the T10 or killed the IS-7. So this is taking a little longer than I wanted. I really thought somebody was going to kill that IS-7, but he ended up surviving several shots right there. We'll get him in a minute. I am exposed right here. I just got hit by the IS-7, but I am exposed right here to Artie. So that's one problem, and the Artie that I would be exposed to would be hanging out here in the corner. The other thing is what that IS-7 just did. I'm giving him a lot of side armor right there, and if he's got any kind of depression, hold down right there, he can swing that gun and pop me, although he may have gone right through my turret. Is that what happened there? Yep, it's hard to tell. It looks like he got me on the side. Replay camera is wonky. I'll end up killing the IS-7 right here. He's in a bad spot, especially if he doesn't own the hill. We do, so we've got our guys up top sniping at him. If he owned the hill, people were shooting at me from about where that mutz is, then I would have a much harder time poking up here and trying to hit him. And now we just continue toward the hill. We've taken a pretty good lead, killed some of their bigger tanks. Two choices here: to continue to fight in the middle. I'm actually looking to farm damage off this T-34 if I can. What I wish I had actually done is move up to the top about where the mutts is. The one thing that stopped me though is if you look, that JPZ E100 is sitting there. We'll start working on him in a minute. I'm going to take a bad shot here and miss. Got lucky, the T-62 only tracked me. I'll fix it because being tracked right there without the gun depression and my hole up in the air and that fast DPM T-62 is not a good idea. So I had saved my repairs till that point. That was a place where I needed to quickly repair tracks and move out. Get a shot on the side of this guy. Continue to look at the T-34. The IS-3 kind of has him looking at him. And he's going to see me here pretty soon. IS-3 is getting torn up by the T-62. The reload's just a little late, a little bit of a rush shot, and I'm lucky he's not reloaded. I'm going to back up here, trying to get out of the JPZ's way and then get hammered for 552 from the Arty. Another exposed spot to Arty, especially if they're in this corner. So I just backed right up into that, and he takes that shot. That is why that spot can be dangerous from the north spawn. If they win the hill and then they hang out where I am, kind of where the mutts was, just realize that you are exposed to they're already behind you. I don't have a great crew on this, so the repair is quite long, and I'm really just hoping that some of my tank isn't poking out to where that JPZ can hit me. If he had some HE, he may have been able to even do a little damage. And then he's dead, so the IS-3 takes him out, and now we can start pushing around the corner. It's a pretty typical mines situation where we won the hill. It was kind of a neutral win because we end up losing the guy up there, but it doesn't matter because we've got it all cut off. Nobody else can get up there and use it. We own the middle. There was some guys that came around here. They ended up dying, and we've got somebody controlling here. So we've got some pretty good map control, and we've pushed all of them back. We've got more guns than they do. I have a problem here because I get up on the side of this. Oops. See, I'm up on the side of that, so be careful with that kind of thing. Decent depression on the E75, just not even near that much. I'm trying to avoid getting nuked by Arty right here. Get another shot in on him. He bounces me, so using the armor there. Decently angled. That's going to be hard for him to pin unless I actually get my front road wheel out there where he can hit that. And with those two down, we end up with the mutts over here, an Arty sitting here, and probably two Arty over there, which will be proven correct in a moment. I'll show you what I'm doing with my gun. I'm going to see this 212. He tried to move. He's going to call me a name. I rushed that shot a little bit based on he was going to get away. And now we'll just push up in here to the Arty. The 58 mutts will die. So pretty typical. Mines win. Neutral / win the hill. Make sure they don't control the island. Make sure they don't YOLO around the corner and get it behind us. And then just continue to work their campers back here. And then push into them when they're dead. And actually this is kind of funny because this becomes a Pascucci's and a kamikaze. I'll show you how in just a minute. You may be wondering how. I've got the one Arty down, right? So that's one of them dead. He's got 1%, auto aim, fire. I just come right around the corner on this guy because I'm going to try to ram him. He hits me and tracks me, so no ram. He gets hit, 2%, rams me. There you go. Pascucci's and a kamikaze and an E75 on mines. We'll see you in the next video. Alright, so we go back to the next analysis for NiteDog. This time in the 110.5. Loaded into Siegfried line. We're on defense. There's no Arty in the game, so this is going to change a lot of what I can do. For Siegfried line on defense, as a general idea, I like to work from the north to the south. So I want to get to the flank, make sure I roll up anything there, and then start working my way back into the town. You can do the same thing from the south. It's not as easy because the south is more exposed. The north has this nice steep ridge you can dive back down behind. If things start getting dicey, there aren't so many good places to hide over here. In addition, In the south, this area is shootable from here, exposed. So if the enemy gets up into that area, they can fire at you and take you out pretty quickly. They can't do that from this side. If they get up in here into the city, there's a hill about right here. So you can work this area safely until you can then start moving back down. You do have to beware of enemy in this area once you get to here. So I'm going to work from the north side on this one. The 110E5's got pretty decent depression, carrying 24 heat, so I'm going to spam like crazy here. This tank was a tournament or something kind of tank, so I've got all kinds of gold on it. Alright, we got an ISU, an ST1. The ST1 is working through the field, so that's his mistake right there. I'm going to try to get up here as soon as possible. That's the kind of thing you're looking for when you come up onto this ridge. These guys that are exposed out in the open, and if they're still trying to get in, that's even better. The spot I'm working is not bad. You can see though that there's kind of a bump about right there, a little bit flatter right there, but you really have to expose yourself coming up and over. I also know that the T-49's got good view range. He's already been up over the top, so I'm relatively confident there isn't anything camping, at least close in this area. There's a ridge here where they can sit in TDs and fire across. So I'm pretty sure there's nothing there. So now I'm starting to aim or concentrate on moving south. Try to get that ISU issue what I'm doing with my gun. So I'm going to look real quick, and they are pretty quickly into the town, especially in the southern portion. We've got some guys sitting right here. That's a pretty good spot for TDs if they push up and over. Most teams don't push up and over because that's a pretty good spot for TDs. So we've got 3 guys whose guns are essentially out of the battle. Alright, so I'm going to move down to the south a little bit and start trying to work on this ISU. Gun there. So this is a bit of a conundrum, right? I've got several high-powered tanks here. I've got this guy with flanking fire. I've got to be careful how I move to the south, and a good portion of our team is out of fight, to include me for the most part right here. Okay, there he goes. Now he's down to a 1 shot. The 110E5 has come back. And I see the T-32 is now crossing over there into the town. That's the other thing about where I am now. Now that I've moved south, I'm up on this little spot here. You can fire down into the town. If our guys had kept them out of the town and they were still working this area, there's some very good flanking shots there, but that you can see they've already entered into the town. Alright, so we got a T-49. T-49 over there. I'm going to come up and over, and this was a big mistake on my part. I knew the ISU was there, but for some dumb reason, I went ahead and came up and over and exposed myself. And then when I started backing up, I gave him kind of that free shot right there, exposing even more of my lower hull. If I had just accepted the fact that he was there, aimed in, I might have killed him. I'd have traded a shot with him, but he'd be dead. So what happens here, begins to happen and continues to happen, is my team starts to lose, and I take too much time killing a few of these guys, and it ends up hurting us big time. Alright, so I get shot at by something there. I just bounced an ISU 152 with heat on his, looked like lower plate. That may have been the bottom part of his mantlet, but either way, give me a break. That's painful. Not reloading time. Just rocket out.
One of our tracks is damaged.
Just got hit by the WD. I really want to get this ISU out of the way because it's stopping me from going forward. Bidding either on this 110 or the ST1. Here he is again. Made a mistake backing up. I'm trying to avoid probably the Leopard. So that's good, we got rid of him. So now I need to continue to move down towards the south. Things are not out of hand yet. Well, you can tell when you look at the map, they really have us pushed back into a tiny little pocket. And in this game, that's very, very bad. Once you lose that much of the map, 3/4 of the map in this case, you're in a hurting status because you can be shot at from so many different directions. Initially I thought I might move down here at the grill, but then I realized, nope, that's dumb because that guy is still on the side. He realizes it and then comes around and slaps me. I'm in trouble right here. Some kind of aggressive move by the enemy at this point. Perhaps it's the E100 keeping him back, I don't know, but if these two just come up and hit me in this flat, I'm dead. And I'm assuming it's the E100 stopping in their mind. That's a bummer. That seems like it should have gone through. What I think would happen if they actually hit on the upper plate, which was highly angled right there. Also, this is heat. Heat doesn't like angles. The 110 T110 E5's front end is very angled, or rounded, I guess. Angled is not really the word, but it's very rounded. So heat doesn't like that. You've got to hit things flat on the feet. I do something stupid there. I auto aim thinking I'm just going to go through because gold never misses, right? It always pins. Nope, that was dumb. If I'd have aimed, I'd have been one more shot up on this guy. And this continues to just take too long. Here's another thing about this little engagement right here. I've got this Grill 15, and he wants a shot at this 110E5, and I am blocking him by face hugging this guy. I'm trying to avoid getting shot by the 110.
Target acquired. Target released.
But I also want to let the 15 have a shot, which he takes. And unfortunately, once again, I hit this guy on the upper plate. Interestingly, as he was rocking back, his tank lifted up, and I thought I had the shot, and when I finally clicked, he was actually rolling back forward, lowered his hole a little bit, and I ended up hitting that top plate. Now I'm staring down the grill as well. He's looking at me. I've got to get rid of this guy, which doesn't happen once again. Just bad aim on my part. Somehow I get tracked when we hit. He doesn't. I get slapped. Finally. I've got rid of this guy, and that just took too long. Still though, it's not hopeless. If I can get in there and get this grill out and avoid getting nuked by him too much. That helped. So he's been hit, and I'm going to come up here and start working with my depression. The problem is I'm going to have some issues with it, and I'm just going to take bad shots. That was terrible. If I'd have just taken a little more time, probably would have got that shot. Oh, not enough depression, still messing around, repositioning, oh my gosh, and another bad shot, rushed. Up and over, at least I think I'm going to, that was bad. Finally I get a shot. So as you can see, those two missed shots, he's dead now, and I just want to kill the ST1. Again, we're not completely out of this fight yet, we're just getting close. I suffer a hit trying to get in here to make that happen. I know that things are going south on us. I'm fussing around too long here. Finally get this guy out. But we're down to 5 tanks, 4 tanks, and we're on the side of him. I don't want to shoot him in the face. I know he's on a reload, so I'm going to come around to his side just to make sure that guy goes away. And I auto aim him because I need that to happen fast. I don't want him to get a shot on me. Alright, so let's move in here and start helping our friends. The impact shot. Got one shot on his track. Excellent. Thinking maybe if I back up, he won't be able to get a shot on me. No, I guess not. He's got plenty of depression. And then I'm killed by the WC. So I end up with 3,800. Pretty average for a tier 10 heavy. 5 kills. The takeaway here is I just took way too long clearing out that north. It was going according to plan. I owned the north. I started to move south. We started eating up those guys as we went. But as I was watching the battle develop, it just took way too long, and by the time the enemy forces, or by the time I had really defeated this here, the enemy forces had already swept up the rest of my team and were coming back to kill me, in which case they did, and we ended up losing this battle. Alright, we'll see you on the next. Hey, this is Guido with the last of the replay pack for NiteDog, this time the T57. Take a look at the teams, looking pretty even. I don't see any glaring issues. Lots already in this game. So initially I'm taking a look at the deployment, and we start to immediately notice something. We have 0 people going down the one line. What I'm doing here is I'm looking for shots on anybody that comes up that middle road. With an auto loader like this, you can do some good work on erasing people. Unfortunately, there's already a 704 and an RHM in here, and I'm going to be messing around trying to get shots in here. I can't actually see through the bush kind of in the way of each other. The 704's got the only spot that's worthy of anything, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get a shot. And of course I can. I know that, but I'm still messing around with the 704 sitting there. The other thing you need to know about that spot right there is most good arty players know where it is, and they'll pre-aim. Sometimes I'll actually just drop a shot in there with my first round, especially if there's a lot of big TDs, because there's usually one sitting there. A lot of times that TD will get lit by the lights moving up into the castle right here, up into the monastery, and then you have an actual aimed shot instead of a blind shot. So it's not a great place to be. I go there for some stupid reason, thinking I'm going to clip somebody, and I actually even go back here again. I'm seeing if I can get a shot, and finally I decide, you know what, I can't. And as I look at this, we've got the two heavies over here, this M48 Patton camping with the arty, genius. And the rest of our team is up here in the middle. We have 0 over here, so things are not looking good at all. So I'm trying to consider what I'm going to do here. I'm an autoloader, so an autoloader alone over on the flank on the one line. Okay, I can get in there, maybe get my clip off, maybe I pin 3 of the 4, and then what? Whatever's there eats me alive. So I'm thinking maybe I'll go over and help out the S4 and S7, or go to the middle. Complete indecision. What's the best answer? I'm going to be honest. There isn't one really here. Potentially go up to this corner on the high road and watch this direction. Take shots when they show up and then back off. You're going to find out that's what I end up doing. But for now, I'm looking for anywhere I can become effective somehow. I could trundle all the way around with the IS-7 and IS-4. And had I gone with them initially, that may have been the better idea on the initial deployment, because we could have worked together and rolled up that entire flank. And then I could have come back if I needed to, because this thing is relatively mobile. I'll be honest with you, I was completely irritated at this point with how this team was deploying and doing their thing. So I'm going to go up to the middle, as my thought right now is maybe I'll just actually bully my way up into the top. But I'm looking at a T-62A, a 430, and a T-10. There's no way I can handle those. And our guys that were in there are now getting eaten alive. So I'll come up here, I'm hoping to get a shot or two. There's a 140. Remember with heat, just realize, you see that truck right there? I can't shoot through that truck with heat. The truck or concrete like this, kind of fencing, will eat the heat shot, and it won't go through like the APCR or the regular AP. So that's one thing you do have to watch out for when you're running with heat-loaded tanks. You cannot shoot through obstacles with it, because the obstacles will actually stop the shell. HE is the same. So now I've finally made the decision. I figure it's been long enough. We are at 2 minutes into the game, and we literally have had no one here. So anyone of any competence that's moved up here and noticed they haven't been spotted or seen anything, they're probably about here now. If they've been moving carefully, they could be here if they've been charging hard. So I'm going to go see if I can find out what's going on over here. I noticed the 131 coming through. Let's try to finish him off real quick. I'm a big bad heavy. I got an auto loader. Let's see what I can do. I can bounce. And then I can miss. Genius. So there's 2 gold rounds down. No damage done. Still futzing around in the middle. The only good thing I did here is I hit C to force a reload, so that when I get up to the top of this thing, I'll actually have 4 shells. That's something you need to learn to do with the auto loaders, like the T-57. Taking a couple shots, it's going to take you a while to redeploy somewhere. Go ahead and hit C. That ensures that you don't lose the shells that are in there, and reload the entire clip. You will know somebody who doesn't know how to use C when you see their autoloader is down to 1 or 2 shots and they shoot it into the ground or into a wall in order to get a reload. So there we go. I made it up here, got reloaded, and we're going to see what we can see coming around the corner. And lo and behold, pretty soon we're going to see some friends show up, just about the time I thought. Alright, so heat's not going to go through there. That's spaced armor on the side. It's at a high angle. It just was never going to happen. Now I'm down to 3 shots. That's the problem with taking that kind of shot with an autoloader. He's going to come out here, and I'm going to hit what I think is the flat plate there. And nothing. Oh, holy cow, there's the 50B, so now I'm dealing with him. I don't know why he comes out again. He does. Just enough for me to hit him. But he actually hits me as well, which is pretty irritating. He snaps out. I'm fully zoomed. Alright, so I force a reload. Oh boy, now we've got 3 there. There's a Leopard. IS-7 and 50B, and I just hit C to reload. I do have the patent there to help me, so I'm just going to back off of this. I'm trying to buy as much time as I can right now. Keep my turret forward. This IS-7 is going to come around. He's going to have enough depression to hit me. I'm not reloaded. I get blapped by him. I get blapped by the Leopard. He gets hit and tracked. Excellent. I'm just about reloaded, so I'm going to actually come up here, shoot him in the track, make sure he's still tracked. He fixes it, knowing he's doomed. Tries to get out of the way. Now I'm down to 2 shots. We've got the IS-7 below fighting the M48 patent, and I know the 50B is up top. I figure he's on a reload. So I look for him. I'm trying to proxy light him if he's there. What I really want to do is get down and work on this IS-7. And I figure, all right, I've got to make something happen. So I'm going to come down and try to put the last 2 shells into this IS-7. That's good. Good job, Patton. He's near dead. Here he comes out, gives me a side shot. Reloaded, and he's dead. So I kept moving to get around that dead Sherman because I want to try to avoid taking another shot from that IS-7. He's looking right at me. So now I'm on another reload. Now here's something I did not notice. While I congratulated myself for knowing when to hit C, I do not congratulate myself right now for not paying attention to the fact that I only have 3 heat shells left. So that is something you have to deal with when you're running with gold ammo and you hit C earlier in the game to reload. You're going to end up with something less than a full clip available at some point in your reload cycle. So I really need to be reloading the AP now. Go ahead and hit one twice, but I just don't notice. About the time I notice it, I'm nearly loaded right here, and I'm thinking, well, I'll just deal with this, and it becomes a factor later. I know the 50B is behind me. I don't really have any help. I don't want to go out there and meet him face to face. I could do, but I'm trying to be a little bit more clever about that. We're actually in the lead, so I think we're not in bad shape here. And I'm going to go take the high ground again. If I can catch him down below as he comes around the corner, I'll be in better shape. The 50B actually has pretty terrible upwards elevation. But he's not there. And now I'm thinking, well, interesting, because if you've been noticing, we did push up into their cap a little bit. Those guys have died, all of them but the Bulldog. So they ended up cleaning them up. We got these guys in the middle, and I don't see the 50B, and he's actually a pretty good player. So I know he's probably headed back to the cap to protect his own cap, which you'll find out is what he in fact did. We're pretty comfortably in the leader here though, right? So everything's looking good. There goes the T-49. YOLO Scout heading out. Gonna make it happen, right? There he goes. Gets up on the edge. All right, looking for a spot. Got the M41 over there. Man, we should be in great shape, right? We got 2 scouts. Well, where are they? It's taken me a while to get there. Another opportunity this long drive. I should have reloaded. Now I was slightly worried I might run into the 50B waiting for me, which is one of the reasons why I didn't, but I certainly wish I had. Oh, geez. Well, there goes 2 of our tanks. The 50B just killed 2, so that's 2 of his clip. The question becomes, did he reload the clip or not? I am thinking probably not, so I'm going to charge in here. I see the arty. Okay, great. If I'm lucky and I get a good roll, I'll shoot him in one uh-oh. That's not good. I missed. I hit. Low roll, 346. He's dead, and I got nothing. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Reloaded. Outstanding. So some pretty poor play on my part. Made several bad mistakes. Even if I'd had 4 shells right there, what I'd needed to have happen is high roll one shot the M53, 55, and then put all 3 into the 50B before he kills me. As it was, that didn't happen. We actually end up winning that game, which is pretty funny. That's a different story. All right, so there you go, NiteDog. Basically took each tank you asked. I took my first battle in each one of those tanks, good, bad, or indifferent. Bad in this case, 1,800 damage and a bloody T-57 is not good. But I also tried to roll in some thoughts on the maps that they play. And one of the reasons I did that, it that way, is it is not really the tank that you play that ensures if you win or lose. Now, people can be good in certain tanks, don't get me wrong. They can be bad in certain tanks, but it's slightly good or slightly better depending on the skill level of the player. And the skill level part is not the play of the tanks, but it's the play of the game, which is positioning, essentially, making smart decisions, going to the places that you're needed, killing the right people at the right time, dealing the right amount of damage at the right time relative to the tank's power, doing the right things when you're top tier, doing the right things when you're bottom tier. All those things are tied together, and it's not just the fact that I can kick butt in one tank DPG wise that makes a win rate happen. So in this case, I'm able to take each one of these tanks, play it once, get an analysis of what I did right, what I did wrong, and hopefully that helps you a little bit with your heavy tank play. All right.